Joe Ducard here, and in this video I want to share with you the number one, the absolute best place to meet women if you're a single guy. Now, first let me talk about how I came up with this distinction. So some people, you'll see some videos where they'll take some random arbitrary advice that they've heard from somebody else and say this is the place or that's the one. But what I wanted to do is take from my own reference experiences. So what I did was I made a list and I wrote down the best women that I've met in the last 10 years. Okay, so women that were highly attractive, both physically and in their personalities, and also women that I enjoyed hanging out with and were the type of quality that I wanted to have in my life. So I made a list of those, maybe like a top 10 of who those women were, and I wrote down the places that I met them because I wanted to look for patterns, right? That's also a great exercise that I suggest that you do. Think for a second, go through your past, think of the best women that you've met and think how you met them, where you met them, and you could start to look for patterns. So, long story short, what I did was I wrote this list and I wrote down next to them how I met them. And I was figuring that I was going to come up with a clear answer and that it was going to be hands down, there's a certain place that's going to be the best place to meet women. But to my surprise, there was almost zero patterns. Each woman I met in a different place, maybe a couple of them in the same spot, but they were all different places. And it got me thinking that sometimes what we do, especially when people give dating advice, is they'll say things like, just go to the bars, or never go to the bars, right? Or just use the apps, or just do day game, or whatever it may be. And they'll start to say something is really good and something is really bad. And they'll start to demonize certain things and glorify other ways of meeting women. So if I could break it down to one key philosophy, it would be cast as wide of a net as you can manage. And by that, I mean something that you could fit into your schedule, that you could actually do. It doesn't necessarily mean things that you're just comfortable with, right? It definitely is a good idea to get outside your comfort zone and try some new things. But I really believe that the absolute best way in general, if you want to meet somebody quality, you have to meet a lot of people. There's no way around that, okay? There's a lot of distractions and other things that go on, and there's going to be a lot of people that you just don't get along with. And because of that, you're going to have to spend some time in different places and different ways of meeting women. I wrote down a list of those women that I mentioned before, certain places that I've met them, right? So there was a few different spots. Some of them I met there was one I met at the grocery store. I bumped into her at the grocery store. There's other girls that I met on Bumble, Tinder, and dating apps. There were girls I met that were at a strip club. There were girls I met on Instagram and social media. There were girls that I met at a club, girls I met at bars, at happy hours. There were definitely girls that I met through friends. And, just with this list right here, and I'll list it out for you, if you look at them, you say, yeah, I've heard these before, I've done this, but the point of this is I want you to have an open mind. See, back in the day, like when I would just go out at night, I'd say, oh, I'm going to meet women at night. I'd see a woman at the grocery store or somebody I want to talk to and say, oh, I'm not doing day game right now. I just go out at night, right? Or I wouldn't even think to say to a friend, hey, I saw you hanging out with this friend here. I thought she was attractive. Would you mind introducing us, right? Those things really weren't on my radar. I was like, I'm just going to approach them, just going to go out at night, and that's it. But the point is, I want you to have an open mind. And the thing is, if you're open to the possibility and it's on your radar, then you can meet women in these different places, okay? There's other great places to meet women I have listed here. Meetups, festivals, expos, house parties, any type of events or get-togethers, galleries. If you live in cities, I know in the U.S., I live in Austin, Texas, and we have an app called Do Stuff, and there's new events on there every single day. So just getting out and going to these things. The surefire way to not meet women is by staying home and not doing anything. So just getting out there and putting yourself out there, being open to these possibilities is the best course of action. Now, action tip for this video, I'm going to relist the places that I wrote down that are good to meet women. What I want you to do is think about these places and how you could work them into your weekly schedule and be open-minded to meet women in those places, okay? There may be different strategies and things like that. In a book that I was reading, one guy made a promise to himself to just say hi to women. And that was it. He didn't have to knock it out of the park. He didn't have to nail every single step of seduction or whatever, nothing crazy. His only goal was just to say hi. So if you have a goal of just to say hi and be open to meeting women and also to get out and go to different places or try different things, right? Have a few apps and use them maybe sometimes in the evenings, right? Be open to going on dates with girls from those, right? Go out for a happy hour, go out with your friends, at the grocery store. Keep an eye out and strike up a conversation with somebody. If you want to meet women, then the definite best idea is to cast as wide of a net as you can manage. Fill your funnel with leads and start to sift out for the ones that you really get along with. Don't forget to subscribe below, and if you have any places that you like to meet women and you've had success, comment below. Let's share the wealth. Let's make each other better.